because it was just reported on Wall Street.
Hopefully they'll stay.
If you're Beal, do you really stay? I mean, that's a good point.
Nope, they're leaving.
Only thing is, to get Bradley Beal, if Bradley Beal, I'm going to say this, Bradley Beal goes to the Warriors, you will not see him go to the Warriors like how people are going to the Lakers for a bag of chips. You won't see that. You won't see that. The Warriors would have to give up something significant. You know? So, let's see. Yo, big shout out to, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Spiratus. New member number, wow. That's number 8? Wow. New member number 8. Wow. Big shout out to you, fam. Supporting the stream, supporting.
Oh, wow. Out the hell out of me, boy.
Okay. And also, Gordon Hayward of the Boston Celtics, it's looking like he's going to be on the Pacers. Not confirmed just yet, but he does want to go there. But yeah, man, shout out to Spiratus. We got 8 new members so far.
Straightening up, buddy.
Shout out to
come in here with that mess.
Chick Gnosis pulls up in the super chat. Definitely appreciate you. Shout out to Teddy with the 20 dono.
Yeah.
Teddy Hart says, I don't think Curry has ever had to carry a team as a solo act. I would disagree. I would disagree. Now, the lines kind of get gray and blurred whenever we, solo act. People forget, and I'm somebody who I followed Curry's entire career since Davis.
Another block.
People forget. Go look at what he did, and look who was injured. Look who wasn't playing when they took the Clippers to 7 games. During the team favored to win the championship that year. Right? Now again, whenever you say solo act, there's only so many people in NBA history who have been able to win a championship with no other All-Stars on their team. Michael Jordan's first championship, he was the only All-Star on the team. Dirk won that chip, the only All-Star.
Ooh, contact.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Let's go.
There's not that many times that can be said, but what you can say, even when, LeBron won the chip, when Kobe did, different players, Curry was still the guy. He was still the main player. He was their best player. So when you say solo act,
3 blocks with a point guard.
what's the context? Granted, that's not his fault, but I am interested to see if he can truly carry a Western team to the playoffs like a Westbrook, Harden, or a Lillard has before. Okay. Let's keep in mind, the very thing that you're talking about, Curry has done before. Right, Teddy? Don't the facts show that? The facts show that. It's not just about 20. People act like, and I'm not saying you, people act like Curry started 2015 and up. Go look at what Curry was doing, even playoff-wise, before then, as the best player on the team.
Ooh, I got shooting badge upgrade.
So I can't lie. Aspiratus did say a little bit earlier. I
I'm
can already see the narrative forming.
Mm-hmm.
So he
And
said
it's
you
not
can
a narrative
change your
that-
badges like you're on the spot. That works.
I can just kind of see how this could potentially play out. It's a great opportunity, but, you know,
Bro, he
It's
touched
just crazy.
everything. Oh my god.
it's just crazy.
All right, man. Let's go and get these boys
Shout
up
out
out
to
here.
Sierra Dean. Says so many people will be showing Curry fake love when he retires. I'm just going to say, like I've consistently said for the last 3 years, whether it's Steph, KD, LeBron, Kyrie, any of these guys, right? We're getting to see some of the best players of all time play. You know, you can have your debates on
I
where
don't know
you
why I
rank
keep
them,
passing it, bro. He's playing the
but
lane.
regardless, they're great. They're some of the most elite basketball players we've ever seen. But Teddy, if you're gonna say that Steph Curry has not carried a team, I don't think you've been watching Curry for long enough. Because the facts is that he has. You said, oh, carry like a Westbrook or a Harden. Those are actually some of the same guys that Curry has lit up even before KD. But okay. Much respect to Teddy Hart, though. Much respect. Definitely appreciate you. All right.
Come on, I even went inside to committee.
The last thing I'm gonna say about that, I do think it's unfair that what it looks like people want Curry and other
Start
players
this
too.
game
and
off
other
with a
players, like I
shitty ass
mentioned this
record,
last
probably.
year. With other players,
He's been losing.
oh yeah, it only
Nah, I
counts
mean,
if
I've won
they
a
win
couple,
with,
lost one a couple.
you know,
It's, when you playing in this rookie park, man,
G
you can't
League
get in the park with
roster
the same your friends and shit. It just throws you in the park.
and a
You
big
gotta play
man
with
or
whoever's
something
there.
like that. But
Oh,
then
yeah,
when
Rookie
other
Bell
players
stuff.
get
Rookie Bell
pieces,
Well, I just came, bro. I've been in
I
touch
just
my
want
career.
consistency, man. That's all I want.
I got it. I'm the only one with 87
That's all
overall.
I want.
Almost 88.
You know, I can understand what
I
you're saying, though, Teddy,
69, 78.
but that's unfair due to
79.
what Curry has already done in the league. And from what Sporada said, that ESPN has already started
Dude,
saying,
the dudes I just won.
pretty much they're
with,
going to
they got
discount
it.
what he's done. And
Dude
now
got a
it's, oh,
same
but
game.
if he does this
He's
now,
a
then those
78
things
overall,
happen.
and then the paint beat.
I don't subscribe to that line of thinking.
We just beat up on
Nope.
the squad.
Nope. So I'm guessing that the news is still not widespread enough. Yes, you guys can check Woj, you can check Shams. I mean, I have no reason to lie, guys. Big shout out to Jay, pulls up with the 10 dono. Definitely appreciate you. Says, I think Warriors are going to be better than what people in the media speculates. I mean, I don't think anybody has them out of the playoffs. But better than the Lakers? I'll be the first one. If they were to beat the Lakers in the playoffs, I'd be like, wow, I definitely did not see this coming. But I don't believe that's gonna happen. But, you know, I don't know what the media is saying about the Warriors right now. But in my estimation, they'll still be a playoff team. Yo, big shout out to Desmond. Pulls up with the 5 dono, says Brooklyn getting James Harden won't work. Kyrie is a diva. and will not like touches being taken away from him, and their bench will be depthless. Well, if you get rid of those 4 guys, or even 2 of those guys, especially if it's Jared Allen, you're going to lose defense. You're going to lose some bench depth. When we look at the bench, okay, you can always have a James Harden, a Kyrie, KD, maybe 2 of those guys
And y'all hear about that
at all times.
the shit that happened to people's PlayStation 5s and
That defense.
on Amazon?
Mm-mm.
I mean,
Shit blowing
they
up
got
and shit.
DJ, but
Hell nah, the motherfuckers are getting their packages and it'll be a toaster
They
in
better
there,
keep Jared out.
microwave,
Whoa.
anything but the damn fucking PlayStation. Bro.
so Gordon Hayward is still making news right now. He wants to go to the
They're
Pacers.
pinpointing that it came from one fucking place, one of their distribution
But I
centers.
think
And,
James Harden in
then they're
Brooklyn
gonna,
could
Once
work
they pinpoint that, they'll find out
with
who did it.
sacrifice. If sacrifice
They
can't be
said people
made,
get blenders. Some people got a box full of dish detergent.
My slash
Cause,
HM
'cause they
says
put the box,
Laker.
they put the
signed
PlayStation box
Rich
inside
Paul.
of another box, so you don't know
Everyone
what's
should
in
have
it till
seen
you
that
get it.
coming.
Mm-hmm. They pulling those Chicago
Fuck
tricks.
that. I'm not getting shit from Amazon PS5 wise.
I actually had a
Cause
meeting.
you know if they did it there,
They
they're
got
gonna try to
not
do it
like
here.
joking or trolling or anything.
You
But I
can't
actually
walk
had a
into that motherfucking Best Buy or GameStop and say,
with Rich Paul.
shit, alright, my system, that's my PlayStation right
Maybe in the future I'll drop the vlog, but you know.
Damn, that's
Kind
crazy.
of have to play to the algorithm right now. But yep. I was in a
They're
meeting.
gonna end up on eBay or one of them sales sites. I don't know what they got over the UK. I know they got eBay. But they probably got some other shit too.
Yo, shout out
Somebody
to
gonna be selling
Victor. Another new member. Wow. We are at 9 new members right now.
That's wild.
Big shout out to Victor DuPont. People in the chat said, bro, you gotta drop that vid. Yeah. I was a part of a lot of things. You know. So, you know, in the future for sure. But those of you who, you know, you follow me on Instagram and follow me on Twitter, you know, you've heard a little bit about it already. But, and again, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe if you have not already. Let's get 500 people to subscribe tonight. All right? Help us to reach that goal. You know, we're going to big places next year. And it won't just be me, it'll be us, man. So I appreciate you guys.
Perfect time to have a PS5.
All right?
9 days off from my PTO
Yeah,
right now.
in the future. In the future.
Mm.
I will say this. So humble. So humble. Right? Regardless of who he
Grinding
is,
current,
he doesn't come in acting like he's just this, that, and the third. None of that.
Where you going, boy?
Told me, he said,
You
"Man,
better
keep
pass
doing
the
what
ball."
you're doing." I said that. So, let's see. Yo, big shout out to Teddy. Pulls back up with another super chat. $10. Definitely appreciate you, says. RB, let me
Yeah.
clarify. I just don't recall Curry
Hopefully
ever
y'all
having
get there before
a
it's packed.
subpar supporting cast during his trips to the playoffs. Teddy, I do.
I don't know why you ain't throwing the hoops in.
That's the reason why I said go check
And shit.
who was playing with him, who was injured, who was favored, all this stuff. We're talking before 2015.
For those who don't remember, Brian Baines was a high school senior and the #1 prospect in the United States in football. He had a black girl who wanted to have sex with him, and they did so. Black girl then turned around and told
Get my timing down.
her mom and the school that he raped her. Because he had no father and no real counseling, they told him to plead guilty, and they let him go. He did, and they sentenced the then 18-year-old to 10 years. He served 6 years in prison, got out at the age of 24.
Oh yeah, defense out here.
No longer good enough to play football, and they wouldn't let him anyway because he'd been convicted of rape. When he gets out of jail, the world is new. There's this thing called Facebook. He'd never heard of it before he went to jail. He joins Facebook, and the first person who adds him as a friend was who?
Scoring machine, bro. Love it.
The power forward one.
The black girl who told
The point guard.
that he
bro.
raped.
Oh my God, okay.
The black girl and her mother were given $1.2 million from the the Long Beach County School District because she was supposedly raped on campus.
Guard, so I get intimidated. Can't build them those shorters, bro.
The boy was smart enough
Intimidated at all.
to record an encounter that he had with her. She wanted to meet with him.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie.
She met with him and apologized for lying.
I didn't face the guns though, man. Them motherfuckers are easy to get dunked on.
They threw the case out.
They not
Cleared
all
his
that,
record.
bro. Trust me. They just
Told
got a
her
lot
she
of
had to
bad
pay
stuff.
back the $1.2 million. She said that there was a scheme that was cooked up by her
I
mother.
mean, they 6'7" with Hall of Fame
Strange how
first step, and they could.
They tell you to watch out for white women. But in my life, I've never had a white woman get on YouTube and lie on me.
Yeah, the only
I've never had a white
they
woman,
already came out. If you don't have
go to the police and lie on me.
you
I've never had a white woman send
They
me
said
paperwork
you
to
need,
try to sue me.
They said you needed.
Never had it happen
To
in my
affect
entire life.
like people getting. So all you gotta do is upgrade.
But I have had it
I mean,
happen from our.
You can't. It ain't that simple, bro.
But you're supposed to ultimately respect your queens regardless.
It's like you
That's what we're
this
told.
building is way different from the building.
Well, here's a story about a man named DeAndre Baines.
Block upgraded.
Another man who had his
a
life
building?
Yep.
destroyed.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
He was a New York Giants cornerback,
Screenshot right
young
now.
man.
Hold up.
And then he had some charges brought against him.
I'm gonna pull it up.
Those charges that were brought against him
I got you.
were robbery charges by fellow Negroes.
He got 86.
I remember even hearing the voicemail messages of these Negroes saying that this man
I think it'd be a
specifically,
good park bill, but as far as wreck and throwing, I don't think it would be a good bill.
this is a sad story, but it may have a happy ending. Let's break some news.
Who is that? Laker fan?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
Oh, man.
TNN Raw and Uncut with your host, Tom Silverman.
That's not Matt.
Yes, sir, you are correct. She took his life.
Yeah.
She took his life and didn't have to pay him back. How does that make sense? How is it that he's the one who spent 6 years in jail
Made it higher if he was.
and he didn't get any money back for it? None. He didn't get a dime. She just got to pay the school back. Yes, LF Third, you must have heard the story before.
He
This is
take
the
down
one from the
rebound.
house
He's gonna
robbery.
lose probably about 4 or 5 badges off his.
He was supposedly at a house, him and some other people, and they robbed the party goers.
To the end, it gives you.
and it's like, wow, this NFL player out there just thugging like that, huh? Now, I'm not
It's
going to say
retarded,
that had
Shit is
happened
really
because
retarded.
my fellow,
I see what they did. They made sure that you can't make an overpowered deal.
And Dwight got a little frustrated that the Lakers were taking too long to get back to
And
him,
the
and so
other scary
back to him.
thing
So he
is
said, "Okay, I'll join you."
They
Second.
know what people are doing. They've been talking
Unfortunate,
about it
but
so
I
much.
mean,
I'll be afraid.
You have
put
to
my
wish he had a
money
little
into
bit
it,
more
'cause I
patience
think
there, right? I mean, you look at the situation. Not only David Aldridge mentioned his deal is non-guaranteed.
They'll make it
Catch
slower.
that man from a
So it's about $500,000 less than what the Lakers could have given him. Non-guaranteed, instead of the Lakers would have been guaranteed. And now he's backing up Joel Embiid. He might have been the starter.
Well, I'm kind of
for the
glad I
Lakers.
ain't got the system right now, so
Yeah, not great.
I get to see
Not
what's
great.
going on.
Wish Dwight had a little bit
See
more
how he's
patience
gonna
there.
play out.
Who knows though what was really happening?
I made
Maybe
a
the
deal
Lakers
that I
were on
know
the
they
verge
can't
of
do.
pulling the
And if
offer
they
because
don't
again,
make that one,
bringing in
I got it.
Montrez.
I got
But
it built.
that push
Something similar.
Marc
It's a little
Gasol
different.
apparently onto their
'Cause I
radar.
put it towards
He's
my play
interesting.
style.
Okay, I understand the athleticism isn't there. It's not the same as Dwight's. There's some issues
But I feel
there.
like-
There's no question.
I was thinking about
But
making
just
it
in
just
terms of
because
skill set, having a big
I
who
don't
can
really
step out to
care
the
for my
three-point line,
interior defense
that
that much
interests
'cause I'm
me.
a run guard with the build.
But not as much as having somebody
I
who
really
can
look
rebound,
down there.
defend at a high level, has that mobility of Dwight Howard. So I don't think Marc Gasol would be my
And I
first
put no close
choice,
shot in there.
especially with how he looked in the playoffs.
Wow.
But if they
He
feel
put
like
that
he's
nice
got
close
something left,
I know.
that being on the
No
Lakers
sweat.
might reinvigorate him in the same way that it reinvigorated Dwight Howard.
Yeah, he
Man.
played.
Bully in the back down.
It's
He,
worth a
he
shot.
played twos a lot.
Right.
So
But like I
he-
said,
I would rather have
Yeah,
Dwight
he
Howard.
plays too.
I just straight
Yeah, he
up, I'd
plays
rather have
too.
Dwight Howard. But
Yeah, he
So
plays too.
if you
I'm
want
trying
one
to-
everybody at center, you can certainly do
Yeah,
worse
if
than
I'm trying to make a
Marc Gasol.
center build, I wouldn't make that. But if I'm trying to use him as a guard, that's perfect.
but,
Because if
Will
I make a
McIntyre
guard build, it's gonna have the same
says,
stats anyway. On the
Assuming we
interior.
don't sign any more high-level
So in
playmakers,
that
how
case,
are we
just make it
dispersing
down
those
6'6",
ball-handling,
they got more
playmaking duties
speed.
when Braun is off the court? By committee, can Schroeder be that guy? Will, yes, that is it exactly. Schroeder can be that guy. That is
You
the
ain't gonna be able
reason
to keep up with
why,
that.
or one of the
'Cause you
reasons
gonna
why
have-
they went so
'cause
hard
you think about it,
after
I
Schroeder.
don't think that build
So,
gets clamped. If
Dennis
the
Schroeder
Bears
is going
low.
to be that guy. He will
Yeah,
be the ball handler. I don't know if
very
he's going to
little
start.
for him.
Nah,
He
I
might.
can't remember.
He might not. Depends. That's going to be up to
All
Frank
right, so
Vogel.
it gets clamped.
But yes,
There's
he
something
will
that
be the
is
ball
missing,
handler
but
when
I'm just
LeBron
saying,
James is not on the court.
You,
And then in
right
terms
now,
of
I'm
are
playing
there
against those
secondary
Bills,
ball
and they
handlers?
think
Yes, you already have Alex Caruso, who we
On
knew
defense.
came
Now,
up as a
offense,
point
they
guard.
probably
Now,
a
he's told us a few
problem.
times
They ain't
he feels a
gonna-
little bit more comfortable off the ball.
Yeah.
And I think you can see that with him out there on the floor. But he can handle the ball in a pinch.
I do
No
one
problem.
fucking
Okay,
move,
so
I
you've got that.
First step.
And then you've got, they were even using Kyle Kuzma handling the ball a little bit last year. They put him into pick and roll situations as a ball handler. Not saying that's something he would do all the time, but in a half-court set, he can put the ball on the floor and create something off of the bounce. So again, I don't think they're
I'm gonna wait a
done.
month.
You got rid
I
of
got
Cook.
over 800 something
They
thousand.
decided to
almost
waive him in
900
order to
something
create a little
thousand
bit more
DC, so
money.
I can make
It
whatever
wouldn't surprise me if they added in someone else in terms of ball handlers, but it'll be a low-level guy, like a DJ Augustine for
I
the
just
better
don't want to put my
something
time
like
into
that.
something
Okay,
that
I'm
they
not
got
saying
like
that's who
an
they're
eye
getting,
on
but
them.
something along
Everybody
those
keep
lines,
posting this shit
like a
talking
third
about
string.
it's a Jimmy and this
That's
and
what you'd be
that.
looking for at this
Look at
point.
shakedown.
Even KCP,
Motherfucker
if
can't stop
they
the
bring
three.
him back,
You
he can
just
handle the
dunk it
ball a little
all
bit. You have to
over
remember, in the Lakers system,
I mean,
the
just
point
going
guard,
right past
it's
him,
really
dunking
mostly
all
who you're
over
defending.
him.
Because LeBron's going to have the ball most of the time.
And then
It's
they made
who
no
can you
shit.
defend for. That's
oh,
why,
come on.
for most of the season, Avery Bradley was technically the Lakers' point guard. Did he really bring the ball up and initiate the offense that much? No, 'cause that was LeBron's job.
I
So
made something
that's where they're
similar
at. I think they're in an
as,
okay situation,
four, but
and
he
there's
got
some options
fucking
out there they can
defense.
probably
He
get
got
for the
like
better
20
minimum. Trey Burke went off the
defensive
board to the
badges,
Mavs and got a
but he
decent
had
deal, so
some
happy
type
for
of
him, but he would
defense,
have been nice.
You know, and
Aiden
rebounding.
Young, where do you think the
That's
Lakers should go from here? Do you think we'll look to
Playing the
sign
corner,
more of our
playing-
guys back, or
playing
just go for a
Anderson.
new look? I think they're going to try to sign their guys. I think they're going to try for, they're going to
Yeah,
try
I think
for
we
KCP.
should
They're going to
shoot
try
maybe.
for Avery Bradley. They're going to hopefully bring
It's
those
just
guys
such
back.
a big difference
If not,
from,
they'll
like,
have to turn to
the
some
badge
other
count.
options out there on
It's
the
like
market.
40 plus bad
But
difference.
given where they're at, they can only
That
offer
big
better
difference.
minimum contracts than new guys coming
That's
in.
crazy to me.
So it would be better for the Lakers to just bring back KCP and Avery Bradley.
Oh, shit.
Those would be nice fits.
They need
Marquise
those
Morris
badges.
would be another one as well. That would work out. Really, I'm looking for
They
probably
need
one
all
more
the
backup
badges.
guard.
All the badges
I'm looking for
you
one
put
more
on that
true
motherfucker,
center, a
it's
guy who
kinda
can again
overkill.
take that burden off
You ain't
of
gonna
Anthony
use that.
Davis. And if that's Marc Gasol, it's Marc Gasol.
Not
Maybe
in
it's
no
Nerlens
threes. You ain't
Noel.
gonna have time
There's a
to
lot of
take
guys
over
out there.
everybody.
Tristan Thompson, I think, is
Probably
going to be
get
out
one
of their
take
price
over
range at this point.
everybody.
But there's still a number
I
of
got a
guys
goal floor
out there
general, too.
that can play the position and play that role. So I'm not super worried about
You
that.
say you got on what?
The other thing
Go
that
for
they
general.
need is still
Yeah.
more 3-and-D wing defenders. That's big.
And the right players.
You got
have
Wesley
the right
Matthews,
POP.
which is great. Great. By the way, I haven't talked about him enough yet. Wesley Matthews, yeah, he's 34 years old, but still a very tenacious defender. He's 6'4", but he defends bigger than that. You guys know what I'm talking about. He can defend guys that are significantly bigger than him and have success. So I think he's a really nice fit there. I think essentially Wesley Matthews, to me, you're replacing the production of Danny Green at 1/5 of the price. That's what you're getting out of Wesley Matthews, or what you're hoping to get. He shot about 38% from three for his career, which happens to be the
Yeah,
same
that's what I'm saying.
percentage
They
that
playing
Danny Green
twos.
shot
I
for the
can see
Lakers
it on
last season.
twos.
So in an ideal scenario,
I can see it on two.
and again, this
You
is
play some
ideal,
rack too.
Wesley
I play
Matthews comes
everything,
in and
though, yeah.
replaces
Yeah,
what
I'm about
Danny
to say,
Green gave you
They
from last season.
mainly just play.
Do I think that's enough on the wing? No. Even if you count Kyle Kuzma
you
as a
barely
wing
see
defender,
their
which
videos
you
with
do,
them
maybe
playing
you don't.
some rack.
I still think you need more 3-and-D wing defenders. So finding those is going to be really important.
Yeah, not but that's what I said. You rarely see them.
Guys, I am
Don't
trying to
put-
get
I
your
see
comments,
those.
especially the
I
super
haven't
chat
found
comments that are
one
coming in.
too,
Some of them are flying by
Have
faster
you
than I
played
can
on
get
that
to
build?
them.
Yeah,
What if the
5
Lakers
hours.
bring Cousins back from Doma drama.
Oh,
Yeah, they certainly can.
Yeah.
If he's getting, I've said it a bunch, if he's getting a better minimum deal somewhere, I would love for it to be with the Los Angeles Lakers. So I think the upside is there.
He made a
I don't
video
know if
how
I
to
can
get
count
A+
on him to
before
be
half.
my true backup center. And word earlier this evening was that he's getting interest around the league.
I would
So if
love
there's
to have
anybody
him.
that can offer him more than the veteran minimum,
I would double team
he's
his ass,
probably
'cause
going
most
there. The
people-
Lakers can really only offer him that veteran minimum deal. But that being said, if you can get him on that minimum deal, I'm all for it. I'm probably bringing in another center in order to be there just in case the injuries are an issue. We've heard he might not be ready to start the season, but the talent level is so high that
The
even
game
a,
is easy to
even
double.
a 65% version of Marcus Cousins is worth more than the veteran minimum. So it's something I'm interested in, definitely. Carmelo Anthony for a veteran minimum. The problem is the defense. Offense, sure. Offense, sure. Yeah, not a problem there. Offense for sure.
I was thinking about
Defense,
getting that, but I'm gonna
yeesh,
wait.
not so great.
Get it for free instead of
And that's really the end they need to work on.
What's that?
Jose Corona, was Trez a secret handshake deal? What do you mean? Like because Clutch
Get
Sports?
what for free?
Was there something going on there?
That's why my mom going.
Yeah,
My mom said she
of
gonna
course.
buy something for Christmas.
Of course. I mean,
Oh,
wait.
gotcha.
I was like,
Anthony Davis,
or I can get it now
KCP,
and buy it myself, or I
THT,
can wait till Christmas.
LeBron James. And there were others too. There's
Another
others
block,
that are
man.
on
I'm
that are
getting
with Clutch
blocked out
Sports
here. This one.
on the Lakers.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence. I think it was half the team was Clutch Sports. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. Definitely a thing. So of course, Rich Paul probably said to the Lakers, "Hey,
Pulling that bit.
Yes,
Montrez,
sir.
what do you guys think?" They said, "Oh, okay. Well, let's work something out." I think Kuzma and McGee, the Wacky Wampa says, I think Kuzma and McGee get traded now. What say you?
Oh,
Could
yeah.
definitely happen. Could definitely happen. But with White gone, does that now make the Lakers a little bit more reluctant to trade McGee? Possibly. But in general, that's probably the package now. We've talked about Walt for a while. We talked about the package being Danny Green and Kyle Kuzma if they're going to get any sort of big upgrade. Now it's probably JaVale McGee, and JaVale McGee's only making $4.2 million. Danny Green was 15. You're talking about a different tier of player that you can get for that money. But yeah, I think it could definitely happen. Could AD pull a Kawhi and completely ditch us? Somebody says Servando Reynoso. Yes,
Okay, I
He
can't
could.
chase my playmaking
that's
badges
within
right
his
now.
rights.
But shit,
He's
I
a free
can,
agent. He could do that.
I'm almost. I could put on gold,
Not gonna happen though.
gold floor
And
general, and
here's why,
gold diamond.
here's why we shouldn't be too worried about this. We talk about this a lot, and this goes back to my time as a history teacher.
Oh!
Push factors and pull factors. Okay? Push factors are things that drive you out of a particular area. Pull factors, things that pull you towards one. Okay? So,
Give me that.
is there
They
anything pushing
said,
Anthony Davis out
nope,
of
we
LA?
ain't coming back.
No, he's good buddies with LeBron James. They get along great, and they just won an NBA championship. Plus, it's LA, the weather, the movie stars, all that kind of stuff. Pull factors. Is there anything drawing him into another location? You could say maybe Chicago, his hometown. Maybe. That's about it. Any of the landing spots too. They're starting to run out of cap space. They don't have room to go sign him. No team out there is operating as though Anthony Davis is a realistic option for them. You notice that? The teams with cap space are spending it.
Montrez,
Because there's one place
Harrell,
Anthony
and
Davis
Wesley
could go sign where he would
Avery
be
Bradley coming
on a
back.
championship
That's
contender.
ugly.
Doesn't exist. So, I don't think he's going anywhere. I'm not worried about it at all. Because not only is there no reason for him to leave LA, but there's no team that can bring him in and still contend.
That
That
is
has
ugly. They just lost 22-0.
What about signing Jay Crowder? I think they're priced out of the Jay Crowder market at this point. Because they spent that mid-level exception on Montrez Harrell. He'd be a great fit, though. Great fit. In terms of 3-and-D wing player, he's going to get more money, though. Tristan Thompson, same thing. Too much money. Are you worried our interior defense will slip? Yeah, that should be a concern for the Lakers because that was one of their hallmarks this season was having JaVale or Dwight at the rim anytime a perimeter defender got beat. Now we're talking about just JaVale,
Well, I can see
and really Dwight is probably the better defender of those two. So, yeah, I mean, they should be a little bit concerned, but again, the Lakers aren't done. They're not done. I think they're bringing in somebody else. There's going to be another big coming.
He's got too much IQ for these motherfuckers.
People saying no rim protection. I get it, guys. But the roster's not that. They've got, what, 9 guys right now? 9 guys? That's about it. There's more coming. Yeah, as somebody mentions, Aaron Baines is still out there. Yes, guys, there's still centers. Nerlens Noel.
They said Malik and
There are still centers out there. In fact, I've got the list pulled up here of guys that are still available. Aaron Baines, Tristan Thompson, Jakob Pertl. I think Jakob Pertl is restricted. But Harry Giles the third, he's out there. Jeff Green. Oh my goodness, Jeff Green. Now he's not a major rim protector, but he'd be nice in terms of being a rangy kind of player that can float between the 4 and the 5 a little bit. Did it for the Rockets last year. Not a true center. Nerlens Noel, Hassan Whiteside. Somebody mentioned in the chat
behind the
just a
back.
minute ago. Hassan Whiteside would be tremendous if you can get him for the veteran minimum, right? Mason Plumlee's gone. Dwight Howard's gone. I'm just going down the list here, guys, and looking at some of the different centers. Willie Cauley-Stein can do it a little bit. Alex Len he's okay. Boogie, Check Diallo. I mean, there's like Noah Vonleh. He did some good things. So there's nobody else that really jumps out. Hassan Whiteside is definitely interesting because of the rim protection that he can offer you. So maybe you look something there. Aaron Baines is another guy who would be interesting. But the point is, the center market is a lot easier to find true centers these days because what do teams want? They want the wing players. They want the wing that can even attack off the bounce when somebody closes out on them. That is what's in style in the NBA right now. A lot of teams aren't even playing centers in crunch time. So finding those guys isn't all that difficult. So again, I'm not that worried about it.
They have a Puma now.
Somebody asking, how about Bogdan? We talked about that a little bit earlier. Bogdanovich, he'd be great. I love what he would bring. Handle the ball a little bit, toughness, shooting ability, all of that. He'd be great. It's going to be a challenge, though. You'd have to figure out a signing trade with the Kings, and that would mean the rumor earlier about him signing with the Hawks would have to be a lie. It would have to be not happening.
Good thought, though. That's 2 seconds.
Let's see, anything else going on right now? I'm just taking a quick scroll through Twitter here.
You fell for the Okie
just to make sure I'm not missing out on anything.
Go back.
Any big news?
Clamps, boy. That dude's locked up.
Hayward is still working on a sign and trade with several different teams. That's Gordon Hayward. My buddy Keith Smith just tweeted that out. Okay. Back to some questions here. Can we sign him on Shumpert? Sure, maybe. That could be an option. Who can handle Joker for us? Okay, so that's Ali Rasul from YouTube. So remember, Dwight Howard, his defense on Nikola Jokic in the playoffs was instrumental, was key to that Denver series. I understand why people would be a little bit worried after losing Dwight, and rightfully so. But again,
dude, what the fuck?
There's other options out there. Dwight's 34. There's no guarantee that next season you will get the same version of Dwight, right? And we can assume he's still. I mean, he's jacked beyond belief. Dwight Howard does not look like a human being. He looks like a sculpture. He's in incredible shape. So I'm not saying he's going to be ineffective next year. I'm just saying that kind of the clock's ticking on him. So there was no guarantee that Dwight was going to be able to do those things next year. Anyway, do I think JaVale McGee can handle it? No. But you can go out there and you can add some other pieces. There's other guys. Who would you trade Kuzma for right now? Wicked Bronco. So I think it would be a sign and trade deal. Like if you could work something out for Bogdanovich, I'm all for that. Other than that, though, the challenge with trading Kuzma is, if I'm the Lakers, I'm not trading Kuzma in a lateral move. I'm not trading him for somebody else who is just okay. Hey, which that's probably the category we can put Kuzma in right now. He's okay, but he's got upside. And he's a Lakers guy, and he's got the versatility to play multiple positions. And here's the thing with Kuzma. We have seen growth from him. He got a lot better defensively this last year. If he gets a little bit better across the board,
go for the alley.
like let's say he gets a little bit better in defense, let's say he shoots 35% from 3, let's say he hits the boards a little bit more, beefs up a little bit, puts on the standard, whatever, maybe it's only 10 pounds of muscle because the offseason's so short, does all these things, then he becomes like a really good player. Like I'm saying like a moderate increase in a few categories for Kuzma changes who he is as a player in terms of value by a lot. That's how close he is because he's exactly what NBA teams want. He can attack off the bounce, he can handle the ball a little bit, can defend multiple positions, has that kind of body build, right, to handle multiple positions, can play the 3, can play the four, can rebound, can pass a little bit, can shoot a little bit. He can do a lot of things. Very versatile. He's just not elite at any of them. If he gets a little bit better at a few of those things, he could be a really nice piece for the Lakers moving forward.
There we go. This is one.
Somebody said Nuggets lost Grant. I saw they re-signed him, but maybe I'm missing something there. But the Nuggets, I saw they got him for like 60+ million for 4 years.
Ranking up fast.
Trevor, do you have any
think
possible
you gotta go
small
through, like,
forward
what,
targets at the
five-
veteran
five
minimum?
rookie
Yeah, so let's go
levels or
through
something like
that. The small
Everything
forward,
five,
forward
man?
targets at the veteran minimum. Somebody already mentioned Mo Harkless. How could you be Mo Harkless? Yes, he would be interesting. Jeff Green is another guy that's certainly on my list, although he's more of a 4 now, if anything. Sometimes he's a 5. Michael Carter-Williams has been converted to a small forward. I don't think he's a good fit, though, in terms of the outside shooting. Carmelo Anthony is more of a 4 than a 3 these days. That's why I consider Glenn Robinson the 3rd.
Nah.
That's interesting. Corey Craig, James Ennis. Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of names out here that are super exciting. Josh Jackson already went somewhere. I'm trying to remember where off the top of my head. I did see that he was signing on somewhere. Yeah, it's pretty thin. There's no question. It's pretty thin. The list of small forwards. They're going to have to try to make it work. And, Jared Dudley. We should mention him. So Jared Dudley has told me personally multiple times now that he wants back. He wants to come back. Like, if he has to knock on Rob Pelinka's door and say, bring me back, if it's the veteran minimum, he doesn't care. Veteran minimum, cool. He wants to come back. And I'm okay with that. I mean, look, we saw, he's not going to give you a ton on the floor, but he's so important to the chemistry of the locker room, and that makes such a big difference. I think when you're adding in these kind of new pieces, Montrez Harrell,
Yeah, that's what he was saying earlier.
Dennis Schroeder, these guys coming in, and you've lost some other players.
And
And for consistency's sake, it wouldn't bother me at all to see Jared Dudley back on the roster. I think his contribution in terms of making everything click with the Lakers for chemistry, and that might have been, aside from having LeBron James and
it's
Anthony
on
Davis,
me.
the Lakers' chemistry this season may have been their biggest advantage over other teams. Because you had other teams who were in the bubble, fighting and arguing and grumpy and angry. And not to say it was easy for the Lakers, but they really got along. And Jared Dudley's definitely part of that. And you need that veteran presence, that veteran guy who can really show everybody, like, hey, look at the film. This is what you did. This is how we need to fix it. This is why this guy over here isn't understanding what you're doing. He's that go-between. And so, again, while you don't see that on the court, he's not going up and throwing down windmill 360 dunks. That's not Jared Dudley. But the things that he does off the court matter on the court for the team. So I would not be upset. I know a lot of people say you're wasting a roster spot or whatever. I would not be upset at all if you brought him back. Can't we just put Dudley on the coaching staff? He's not ready to go there yet. I think he will be a coach at some point. He's very, very good at breaking stuff down. So I think he will be a coach at some point. But he's not ready to go there, and there's a different... The way players communicate to each other is different than the way a player communicates to a coach. And so sometimes having like a coach on the floor type of player, like a Dudley, Rondo also has that role to a degree. You have him out there too. It makes a difference. It really does. So I'm not saying that you should definitely make him a coach or anything like that. What about Bradley? Yeah, we still don't know about Avery Bradley. We're waiting on that. We're hopeful they can bring him back. How key will the buyout market be? So here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up, the buyout market. When we talk about the hard cap, the Lakers can't exceed that even to claim a bought-out player. Yeah. The Lakers got, I think you could make an argument that Markieff Morris was the best buyout player of all time. Because he started for the Lakers in the playoffs months after being added to the team, after being bought out, and helped win an NBA championship. Yeah. Bought-out players are going to want to come to the Lakers. You get an opportunity to win, you play with LeBron, play with Anthony Davis, it's great. But now you've got a hard cap because you triggered that by using your mid-level exception on Montrez Harrell, using your biannual exception on Wesley Matthews. So you did those things, and that's fine. But now you have to be aware, like, hey, if you spend all your money right now and you go right up to that hard cap, you're stuck. Unless you can trade a player away. So that ceiling is sitting here. If your salary number is right here, you're right beneath it. The only way you can get below it is by giving a player away and not taking anything back. And you're probably going to have to pay a team something in order to get them to do that. So that's the challenge, right? Do you want to preserve enough space to still claim a player who's been bought out? By the way, guys, we talk about wing defenders, we talk about 3-and-D players. Keep an eye on THT. Taylor Horton-Tucker, keep an eye. I'm not saying that he's the answer. I wouldn't want to put that on him. He is about to turn 20. Maybe he turned 20. If he hasn't turned 20 yet, he's close. And he's super young. I don't want to put that on there for him to be a rotation piece immediately. But I've heard multiple people say, yeah, this guy's legit. Like Dudley told me the other day, right, that he was dominating Lakers practices in the bubble. Like, that gave me goosebumps. He's got some real talent, right? This guy, once he refines his game,
I hate that I can't invite people to
the elements are there for him to be very, very good. And I'm not saying he's a superstar, but I'm saying being a very good player on an NBA team. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if THT was part of the rotation. In fact, Dudley told me the other day that he is going to be, THT will be part of the rotation. He said 15, 20 minutes a night. He said some games when LeBron rests, THT is going to start. That's his prediction. Okay? Doesn't mean that's what Vogel's doing. That's his prediction. People ask me again about Dang. Still don't know. We don't know what he's doing just yet about his contract. We don't know if the NBA is pulling that money off the books yet or not. That would definitely help the Lakers out a ton. But the NBA has not told them just yet.
Yeah, but I don't want to invite them to the whole.
Somebody just chimed in, Clippers are looking at Kevin Love. That's interesting. I did see something about that about a week or so ago, that they were considering it. I mean, he gives them a little more shooting, I guess. Aldo Aid said, Lakers about to repeat. I called it now. All right, Aldo. Hope you're right.
Man!
What happened to Dion Waiters? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about him. And I was excited for Dion Waiters going into the bubble. I thought he showed something, but he was so lost on defense. I understand why the Lakers didn't go back to him. He was just so lost on defense. It was bad. Oh, okay. Cool. I just got a text, everybody, so a little bit of news here. I just got a text from my buddy Keith Smith that the Lakers have stretched Quinn Cook's salary. Literally just came in from him. Well, actually, it came in a little bit ago, and I missed it. Yeah, it came in about a half an hour ago, and I missed it because I was busy chatting here. I didn't see it. But, so Quinn Cook's salary has been stretched. So what does that mean? So they've taken, Quinn Cook was on a $3 million deal. The Lakers only $1 million was guaranteed though. So what they've done is they've taken that 1 year that's guaranteed, or that $1 million that's guaranteed, and they've stretched it. Okay, just like they did with Dang's contract. So, what you can do when you're stretching out a contract after you waive a player, you can stretch it out for double the length of years left on the deal plus one. So, simple math, there was 1 year left on his deal. The only part guaranteed was $1 million, so that's what the Lakers are on the hook for. So that $1 million got stretched out for 2 years, because that's double the length of the contract plus one, so 3 years.
Boy,
so $332,000
thought he would shoot that shit.
Is essentially what the Lakers are going to be on the books for. That means you save not just $2 million, but 2.7 almost million. So, might that matter? Maybe. But Quinn Cook has been stretched. And that means his salary will be on the books for the next 3 seasons, but it's such a minuscule amount for NBA purposes that the Lakers probably won't even notice that it's there. Somebody said that will be for KCP. Yeah, it really could come down to that. It really could. Do you remember back in the day, the Lakers waived David Nwaba in order to free up enough money to give KCP 18 plus million in that first year back? That first year they brought him over from the Clippers. From the Pistons. Sometimes, even though it seems like a minor amount of money, it makes the difference in terms of getting a deal done. Mamba Assassin. Said, any chance we match Kuzma extension to Jeremy Grant's salary and do a swap and send Kuz to Detroit where he's from? Whoa, no. Kuzma, I would imagine if Kuzma gets an extension, I don't see him getting Jeremy Grant money because Jeremy Grant performed in the playoffs at a much higher level. So I don't see that happening. Oh, he did go to the Pistons. Okay. Got it. Jeremy Grant did go to the Pistons. I thought I saw that Denver was going to match, but they didn't. Jeremy Grant got 3 years, $60 million from the Pistons. Good deal for him. So he is indeed a Piston. I missed that in that came out right during the Montrez Harrell madness, so I wasn't keeping up to date on Jeremy Grant. Somebody said Jeremy Grant's salary is way too big. Yeah, but that's what I've been saying. 3 and D wing players, the value just keeps going up and up because teams want that. That's what teams need right now. They need that versatility. But also, have you guys noticed how many teams are starting to load up on bigs because the Lakers have Anthony Davis? Yeah, that's happening. Remember how many teams used to load up on bigs because of Shaq? How many guys who were just 7 feet tall but were terrible at basketball and not very athletic had jobs in the NBA because Shaq existed? We're almost seeing like a mini version of that right now, where teams are like loading up on some centers, some bigger guys that they can throw at Anthony Davis. It's interesting to see what's happening right now. What do you think of Justin Holiday? Great. Would love to see him in purple and gold, but it's going to be tough to make it work because, again, you can only offer that veteran minimum at this point for him. Denver did match, but he was not a restricted free agent, so he just chose to go to Detroit. Yeah, right, yeah, I know. They didn't have matching rights or anything on him, but I was under the impression that, say, if Detroit offered the $60 million and Denver offered the $60 million, Jeremy Grant would pick Denver. He just wanted them to match whatever the best contract was going to be. Apparently it's not the case, though. John Boyle, if you are Pelinka, how are you finishing building this roster? So what I'm doing right now, if I'm Pelinka, is I'm canvassing the league, and I'm trying to find out who is willing to play for a veteran minimum. Who's going to take less in order to play for the defending champs, in order to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That's the advantage that the Lakers have that a lot of other teams don't. They're going to get a bargain on some players. And so right now I'm trying to find those bargains. Now specifically position-wise, I want one more center, at least one more 3 and D wing if I can find one, and I'd like one more guard. That's what I'm looking for. Markieff Morris, people saying, yeah, look, Markieff would be great. Would love to bring him back. What about Bogdan? Again, I think that's going to be real tough. If you can make it work, that's great. Did Denver get weaker? Well, yeah, losing Jeremy Grant hurts, but they also have Michael Porter Jr. Does he just fill into that role now and then really blow up? What happened? Somebody said Holiday re-signed. I may have missed it, guys. Again, I've been trying to keep up with things as much as I can. But every time something Lakers happens, I stop and I do a video on it. I break it all down from that perspective. So there's some things that I miss.
You want our part?
I'm just checking in to see right now if any other deals are going down at this moment.
Yeah, I'm aware from he ain't part yet though.
Pat Connaughton returning the Milwaukee Bucks, 2 years, $8 million deal.
Yeah.
I could get Finkel in here.
All right.
Be the 5th.
Let's do a couple more questions, and then I'm going to call it a night because I can feel myself starting to lose my voice. Can we keep KCP? Yes. Yeah, we absolutely can. Lakers can keep KCP, no problem. Well, I shouldn't say no problem. They have to make the money work. They have to make the money work under a hard cap now. That's the challenge. KCP, for right now, KCP wants more than the Lakers are willing to pay. But, that being said, the Lakers kind of need KCP. If he decides to go somewhere else, it's not like they suddenly have $8 million or $10 million or something to go spend. This money that they had earmarked for KCP, they get to go spend somewhere. They're over the cap. They can pay KCP because they have his bird rights. They're not going to have bird rights for another free agent.
Hey,
Which could come into play with Avery Bradley, by the way. If it starts to come out that things fall apart with KCP, that might be exactly what Avery Bradley's waiting for.
Right.
In terms of Avery Bradley, they have his non-bird rights.
And 3 seconds
That's
later,
possible. But yes, the Lakers can
Oh,
bring
my
him
bad.
back, but again, they just have to be careful how much they give him in that first
He
year.
deleted that shit.
How much does he
That
want?
money.
but look, I'm cool.
Yes, this is my
I'm
guess.
cool with it though, nigga. We got Montrez
like
Harrell.
that though, and then
Lakers signed Trevor Lane. Not if they want to win another championship.
I'm not mad at him.
I can't contribute much out there on the floor. Not
Screw and Harrell
anymore.
about to be the
Not
next
that I
Lou
could,
and Harrell.
but
That shit about to go hard.
certainly not now.
They about to run that pick and roll off the bench, and that bench about to go crazy.
What's your starting lineup?
Hey, I'm not mad at him, man. I appreciate him.
What it's going to look like this
Yeah.
January.
I appreciate the white.
Figure that out.
Hell yeah, they want me a lot of money this year. On me, they did. I fuck with
Like
the
a
Lakers.
nation. I don't even fuck with them like that. I was hollering that shit.
What about Baines? Sure, he'd be a
Hey,
good
I
backup
know you
center
want the
option
money
if
off
he's
them,
willing to
though,
come on the
Yeah,
veteran
you already
minimum.
know.
Oh God, hey look.
Wouldn't mind that.
Hey, did I tell you that big hey, did I tell you about that bet I had with that big redneck motherfucker? Didn't I, DZ, about the election and shit?
Somebody said Kuzma for Lonzo. That'd be an interesting swap.
He's supporting Trump.
I mean, the Pelicans do have, what, like 85 point guards now at this
That
point?
motherfucker was mad as hell. He paid up though.
That's what's up. Shout out to him.
That's a good one that I should have said. Joseph Palacios. I must have missed him on my list. What about Kent Bazemore for small forward? Yes, that would be a good guy to go target if you can get him again at the vet minimum
Man,
deal.
I bet against Miami every single series, bro.
Damn.
How's chemistry for the new roster?
Yeah,
Again,
bro. I was like,
not
bro, they got
everybody
us
is.
eventually,
We
bro.
don't know
We
the
bet
full
the
roster yet,
championship,
so
I was
we
like,
don't
nah,
know what
fuck
that's going
that.
to look like just yet. But
If I'm
Hey,
gonna lose out to these
so
niggas. Fuck it.
the one thing with the Lakers,
Man,
right,
you knew they
is
wasn't beating the
we
Lakers,
know that
though.
every
Like,
move
that
that
shit
Rob
was
Pelinka
given.
makes,
Yeah,
he's talking to LeBron, he's
watch
talking to
it,
AD, or he makes the
I
move.
know, but
He's
like,
talking to
that
those guys.
shit
He
happens.
is.
But,
And
like,
we
you
heard it
know
last
he
year.
wasn't
He's
fucking
texting
no
them.
bitch.
And hey, what do you guys think about this guy? What do you think about that guy? That's the way he's running things. So in terms of chemistry, it's not like guys are being brought in and LeBron's like, oh, I hate that guy. Why'd you bring him in? I don't like him. I'm just going to fight with him.
Hey,
No,
man,
that's not happening. They're bringing in players that they like.
Oh no.
So
And they got
that
Kelly
tends to
Oubre. They're smart.
somebody said, where's the shooting?
Kelly
Well, you
Oubre
got
shoot
Wesley
like that. I
Matthews.
don't watch the
I mean,
game
that's
like that
definitely a
for real.
shooter.
He's decent, bro.
But I do agree that you
He's
need
like
some
a
more.
two-way player, bro. He could dunk like a motherfucker. He could shoot, and he could defend.
Why do you think the pursuit of Gallinari fell through? Because the Hawks offered double
That
what the
boy-
Lakers
hey,
could.
but I ain't gonna lie, that boy Kelly Oubre gonna try
Right?
to dunk on anybody. He don't
Gallinari
give a fuck.
said
That boy don't
a
give
few
a
weeks
fuck.
ago that his contract wouldn't be the determining factor, that instead it was going to be the situation. He wants to be able to contend.
Like Oubre.
Apparently there's a limit to that, and that limit is about $10 million starting.
Oh,
You got a
man,
$60
ain't
million
look,
deal
he'll
for
be
3
straight.
years.
You got Curry, Kelly
Yeah, the
Oubre
most the Lakers
decent.
could offer was
I mean, he
a
not crazy,
$10
but he
million
averaged 18
deal
last
starting.
year. That
So
was,
double what the Lakers could offer from the Hawks. Apparently $10 million will buy
Yeah, I mean, that's all he
the
got
willingness
do.
to
He
accept
ain't
not
trying to
contending
be
for a
star.
championship.
Ew.
And that is a lot of money. So I understand why. So that's what happened. John Boyle, am I irrationally excited for the THT Caruso duo? Ha ha ha. No, I am too, but I was also irrationally excited for Quinn Cook last offseason, so I'm trying not to be irrationally excited at this point.
Ain't nobody squirting that shit.
Okay,
Rondo,
last
man, I know you
one.
watched the verses,
Let's
dog.
do one more.
I didn't even watch it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to
Hey,
you.
that motherfucker Gucci came out.
Somebody said, why aren't they
disrespectful.
talking
He
in
played
Nerlens?
the
How do you
truth.
know they're not?
He had,
Could be
he had
happening.
like 3 diss songs on that nigga.
He
All right, let me
did,
find
but
a good
the
one to
truth
sink
was
my
so
teeth into for the
disrespectful.
last
He said,
question.
Hey, he said, sister boy, I kill their ass too. Oh, me, that
How
motherfucker.
much money is
Also,
left?
Lexi in the box.
Not a lot
Hey,
under
he
the
told
hard
me
cap.
we
I'd have
spoke
to
about
add it
that 2
all
kilos
up, but
tonight. I
it's,
was like, ooh.
I want to say it's like 20
Man, that shit didn't even look like Gucci Man or sound like Gucci Man. I'm like, man, who the fuck is this dude?
That's because he
Hey,
not
So
fat
thank you
no
for
more,
doing
bro.
this, Trevor. You're welcome. I enjoy doing these guys. And by the way, make sure you are subscribing to the Lakers Nation
He
YouTube
had to
channel.
say
The
that.
last
He
2
had to
days,
say
I've done
that.
something like,
Fuck 'em. You know what I'm saying? You try to kill
I don't know, I'm
the
probably into the double
That shit
digits at this
forever.
point in terms of videos that I put out breaking down all of these things as they happen. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tons of stuff coming out there.
That nigga said, yeah, that shit happened 20 years ago. That nigga said 15,
All right, Matt
15
Riggs.
years. Nigga,
Can
not
we
20.
sign Tristan Thompson to the veteran minimum because LeBron James is good friends with him? Have you ever known Clutch Sports clients to take a pay cut? Yeah, probably not.
It was a good
Could
battle.
they
My
sign
nigga
him to the
Gucci
veteran
was throwing
minimum?
them bitches with
Yes,
that nigga,
in
man.
terms of the CBA, it definitely works. You can do that, but
They say